You want me to do JOVITALATE in 90-degree weather with scars? I mean, what's she going to talk about? Oh, there's a scandal? With a guy named DeJoy? DeJorian? Oh. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay. You asked for your grant, you're waiting for your grant, but, maybe it's missing in the mail system with Inspector Toastmaster General. This is JOVITALATE, the Postmaster General's favorite patron saint when it comes to Inspector Generals. And I understand earlier today, LALATE referred to Postmaster General as Inspector General. Now, I understand these names are a little bit confusing when it comes to cabinet members, but I'm the administrator of SBA, not the Inspector General. And people have always asked me, where is the remainder of my $10,000 grant? So today I have a new story and excuse for that. It's missing in the mail. I tried to send out your $10,000 grant and the remainder of your $10,000 grant, but mail routing facilities and those boxes that you put things in, they're gone. I went to put them in the mailbox and they were gone. And I called up not Inspector DeJoy, but Postmaster DeJoy. And I said, hey, I'm trying to mail all these people their wonderful remainder of their $10,000 grants. How many mailboxes have you removed so far? And he told me a few in Springfield, Missouri. I said, oh, I got a new excuse not to send them their grants. So, yeah, if you're wondering where your grant money is, it's toast under the Toastmaster. Now, I know that you watched President Trump speak from Bedminster, New Jersey, which used to be the home of DeJorian. And he was talking about DeJoy. And I had really delight in this whole discussion about DeJoy. Because I've known DeJoy for a while, and it's been a great time. He's a mega donor to the Trump administration, but, at SBA, we cap your loans at $150,000. So if your business is struggling now, I have adopted a new provision, which is we are going to cap your loans at $150,000, even though the CARES Act didn't call for that. And so a lot of you want $350,000 or $400,000 loans. You've watched LALATE and you understand you qualify for escalated loans. Escalated loans is, based upon gross revenue minus cost of goods sold divided by 2. It's a simple calculation because, we make things simple for Larry Kudlow. And it's a simple calculation. You do it and you're like, oh, I qualify for a $400,000 loan. Javita, can I have a $400,000 loan? No, I'm going to cap it. Why do I have caps? Because I love baseball. We have a lot of caps at SBA. We have a cap of $150,000 loan now. Apparently a new moving goalpost. If you're new to JOVITALATE and don't know what I do, I love scars, first of all. I love scars, but the thing about JOVITALATE is it's a moving goalpost here. It's sort of like the XFL with better fabric. JOVITALATE moves the goalposts at SBA more often than Larry Kudlow fixes his glasses. And so when we talk about the rules and regulations of SBA, people are always asking me, isn't that a new policy? I say, yeah, that's what makes it so fun. It's sort of like, keeping track of the scandals with your stimulus checks on a daily basis. I like to keep things spicy because I like things spicy, not too much habanero, but just a little bit spicy. So I change things up a lot. And so the new policies at SBA is that, you cannot get over $150,000 loan. You can't get a co-borrower you could before. Sorry about that. Is that unfortunate? By the way, you're looking for your $10,000 loan? I've moved the mailbox for that. If DeJoy hasn't moved the mailbox, I will personally move the mailbox to ensure you can't get your $10,000 stimulus check. Gyms are closed across most of this country, but I have a home gym, and I've been working in that home gym, and in there I've gotten very physically strong. So moments like this where people ask for the remainder of their $10,000 grant, I personally push the mailbox so they can't find it, and it doesn't go out. The important thing to understand with what Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, said today was that she's ordered members of Congress back in session in the House to have an investigative hearing about Inspector DeJoy. Now, he should take pointers for how I answer congressional hearings. I did one a few weeks ago that many think that was the result of LALATE's reporting, where I wasn't following CARES Act guidelines and I was called back in to answer them. Many think that was because of LALATE's reporting, but I'll let you decide. And so I was asked very tough questions. And you know how I dealt with it? I just sort of flipped my scarf and didn't answer the question. People get distracted when you flip a scarf. Not that I'm a USC or UCLA fan. They just get distracted when they see a scarf. The scarves are very distracting. So what I recommend DeJoy to do at the congressional hearing, the House caucus hearing, to wear lots of scarves. Not answer the question. Flip the scarf when this question is answered. If you don't hear the question, put the scarf in front of your ear and sort of blame it on the scarf. It worked for me. I just said, there's too much fabric here. I can't hear you. And then hope that Steve Mnuchin sort of jumps in and saves you. That always really works. The important thing to understand with EIDL loans, because I know a lot of you need funding right now, you haven't got your stimulus checks, and with EIDL loans, they're still open. You can still get the loans. The processing times are really fast. There's a 24-hour turnaround time. It's just those people that never got their loans back from March and they're still stuck. I just love that. It's just, there's excitement in that. And because of that, it just makes it like a bad telenovela, more than, watching Mark Meadows at 9 o'clock in the morning. So when DeJoy is before the congressional hearing, I want him to remember how I dealt with EIDL hearings. I was consistently asked, why did I not come back and ask for more money when EIDL ran out of money? And I said, it was very simple. I mean, I was just busy. I was busy watching the West of Belize Latina. I mean, I just wasn't available. I was watching real old reruns of Miami Housewives. I just wasn't, into it at the time. And so they said, why don't you come back to us now and ask for us for more money? I said, that's what I did. I just did that. It's, when you give people sort of a blank stare, they don't know how to deal with it. It's sort of like Mitch McConnell with those, that tortoise look he does, where he's just sort of frozen. You don't know if Mitch McConnell understands what you said or misunderstands what you said. It's difficult being an inspector general, a toastmaster general, or a postmaster general, or an administrator like I am, administrative person. Ultimately, we have to answer to a higher authority. That's the person who oversees the Waffle House down the street. But, we have to answer to a higher authority. And the greatest thing about this country, God bless America, is that there's never an oversight committee ever as to what we're doing, so we can just get away with whatever we want to do. That's the greatest thing about this country, the lack of oversight committees whenever possible. So, when I sat at a congressional hearing, they asked me, what was the average EIDL loan? I told them it was $85,000. It was $400,000, but they just didn't know their math. Maybe they went to Larry Kudlow's School of Economics. But, then they asked me what was the cap on the EIDL loans. And this was a congressional hearing back in June. I said it was $120,000. Now, I know that LALATE was sort of pounding the screen more than, Mark Meadows kicks the furniture. And you're saying, what, Jovita? I've been doing loans with viewers at $300,000 all through the month of April, May, and June. But, they didn't know their math, so I could say it. So when DeJoy appears before the congressional hearing and Chuck Schumer's there and eating his lox and cream cheese from H&H Bagels in East Side, New York, I want him to remember that not everyone's good with math. So just sort of change the numbers. It's sort of like what Larry Kudlow does with FPUC. It's like, FPUC was initially $400 last Saturday in the executive order of the president, and then the next Sunday, the next day, he was interviewed on TV. How does this calculate? He says, well, we're going to be giving $400. The states are going to be giving $500. That adds up to $1,200. And with that $1,200, you get to $600. And hence we have $900. Everyone was just very confused, but it worked because they didn't understand you. And so they go home and they pop some NyQuil. That's what's great about America. And so that's what I encourage DeJoy to do. Watch my congressional hearings as administrator of SBA and understand that ultimately the best way to deal with people is just blame Mitch. I mean, that's what I generally do. I just blame Mitch whenever possible. If you don't recall, I worked in mail sorting. I worked in mail sorting before I was head of SBA. It's true. Look up my Wikipedia. I mean, I actually have a Wikipedia. I'm really famous, And it's not JOVITALATE. It's under Jovita. And, I worked up the totem pole, whatever totem pole that is. And guess where I was in charge of everything? Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. So I know what it's like to be Mitch McConnell. And ultimately, when there is that congressional hearing next week, when we're tuned into the joy for the du jour of the delight of the moment, to remember that the business is here. This is the thing. And you have to really not answer the question whenever possible.